What's up, YouTube? This is the White Panther channel. Over here, I'm going to be doing some sound design tutorials for specific car engine and exhaust sounds using Fruity Loops. So right now, I consider this somewhat of a passion project. However, if I get enough support, who knows what this thing could become? I mean, and I know there's some other channels doing content like this, but I don't know of anyone else giving you tutorials in fine detail on how to replicate sounds for specific car engines. And that's what I am going to be doing here. And the best part about what I'm going to show you is that you won't need any third-party plugins at all. You can just download Fruity Loops right out of the box and you can do everything I'm showing you. You can get an exact car sound with all the vanilla plugins that F1 Studio comes with. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you're interested. You won't find nothing like this anywhere else on YouTube. Stay tuned for more. All right, now we're going to be getting into some comments from some previous videos. So F5 guy says, cool, next time can you show us how to replicate specific car sounds such as Corvette V8 or NSX V6 or 4Age i4. All right, so rest assured, brother, those sounds are coming. They're on the way. This comment from, I'm just not going to read that name. It's too long for me. Sorry, brother. Those are two new patterns for the V8 sound I have not seen before. Previously, I've only seen the down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up pattern on another YouTube channel. Yeah, so that is the typical firing order for a V8. But the thing is, when it comes to making sounds like firing order, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about firing order. Like, if you put the firing order for the sound of the car that you want into a DAW, you'll get the basic bare bones sound, right? But yeah, the firing order is not, you don't want to go by firing orders. Just trust me. If you're just trying to make a V8, you'll see. Comment from Barmy says, you didn't get the piston firing order right. What you've made is something that has 3 pistons on one side and 5 on the order. The correct order would be up, down, down, up, down, up, up, down. All right, so here's the thing about firing orders. So the problem that we have, the firing order does not matter. All you really need to do to make a V8, all it takes, the simple thing you want to do is just all you want to have is replications of 8 revolutions, and that's it. Like, any kind of order, any kind of pattern that you establish using that principle is going to give you something approximating a V8 sound. Now that firing order will give you a standard V8, but the thing is, when it comes to firing orders, like, so what we're not using an actual car engine. So if we had a car engine with like parts and stuff, yeah, you wouldn't want to like we're not using a car engine simulator. We're using a DAW, right? We're using Fruity Loops. It's not really made for replicate cars, but you can do it, right? You just got to use a bit of ingenuity. And the thing with cars is there's like so many different components to an engine sound. All a firing order is going to do is just give you the bare bones of what the exhaust sounds like, or what the engine actually sounds like. It's not going to account for intake manifold. It's not going to account for, it's like listening from the engine bay is what a firing order will give you. But problem is, when you're listening to a car, you're not listening from the engine bay, right? You're hearing it pass through during the night, or, you're hearing it inside the car, or, you're doing the exhaust notes from the back of the exhaust. You're not not everyone's just opening the hood and listening from the engine bay, and you have to account for all of these things when replicating an engine, right? Like the car engines will sound different from the engine bay than it does in the exhaust. They sound different from the inside of the car, from the outside of the car. They sound different coming towards you than they do going away from you. You know, they sound different depending on the type of exhaust you have, the type of turbo you have, the type of intake manifold, the type of headers. All of these things, you have to account for all these things when you're replicating an engine. So just going by firing order, it's not gonna do the trick, right? You got to do more, right? And really, you can get the sound you want without even accounting for the firing order, right? So like if you can get a multiple of 8 revolutions in a pattern and work from there, you can get a V8 just from that, but you have to do certain patterns and certain structures, right? Which I'll show you later. But yeah. And then another comment from Barmy says, also should have used a kick instead of a snare. All right, so I've seen other tutorials use a kick when they're making engines with a DAW. You can do that. But the reason why I prefer to use snares and rims instead of a kick, because the snare will bring you closer to the type of engine sound that you want to have. Like this, the different tones of a snare that a snare gives you, there's a lot more variety between the tones that you'll get, and depending on what snare you start off with your engine, you could come a lot closer to the sound you want without having to do as much legwork as opposed to using a kick. Like a kick is just like a bass beat, right? Like just think about an engine, right? A combustion engine. Like all the combustion is just like a microscopic explosion. Like they don't make the boom sound, right? They don't like boom, boom. They don't sound like that. If you actually like go inside the engine and just listen to like slow it down all the way, but like you could hear it in real time. I know it's kind of a contradiction, but just stay with me. Like if you just heard it in real time, but like where they would slow it down in your mind, it would make like a tick sound. It would like, it wouldn't be like a boom sound. You know what I mean? Like a kick does. It would sound more like tighter, like a snare, right? This is why I use snares instead of a kick. And also the goal of what you're trying to do is you want to start off as close to the type of sound of engine that you want before you get to the point where you're using filters and distortions and all that stuff to, you know, get the accuracy down. You want to get it close because that way you don't have to do as much legwork as opposed to just starting off with a kick and doing all this stuff like all these distortions and filters and, you know, and delays and stacked filters and all that stuff in order to get the sound you want. It just requires more work when you use a kick if you're trying to be accurate. Now, if you're just trying to create a kick, is good to use if you're trying to like replicate the inside of a car, right? But I will be doing that. I'll do like onboard sounds, but my main goal is to like replicate the sound of a car as if you're like behind the car in third person. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm going for. So yeah, if you want to like replicate the inside of a car, a kick, you can use the kick, but if you're really trying to get, like, most people are going to hear the outside, you know what I mean? Like most people, like especially a high-end hyper car, like most people ain't going to be able to drive them cars. So they're going to be more familiar with how it sounds from the outside rather than inside. All right. So the next video I'm going to be putting out, the engine sound of this bad boy right here. I already did a short of this sound. Yeah, that's gonna be my next video. Stay tuned for more content, and I'll see you next time.